All right, we back. Motor City Sports Talk. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. This is the video I was supposed to get to 2 days ago. I actually got a chance to actually sit down and get it planned out and actually hopefully do it the correct way. And the topic of discussion is Matthew Stafford. We talked about Stafford a couple times on the channel, and like the guy. Didn't always like him in the beginning because of the injury in the rookie year. Then the Julius Peppers sat. Jeff Backus gave up. And all that other stuff. But we back talking Stafford once again. And, for Matthew Stafford, people hate him. People love him. He couldn't win. He can't win. He needs all this stuff around him. He can't win. You hear that a lot. But you got to remember, every quarterback is different. Everybody isn't Aaron Rodgers. And people say, well, Aaron Rodgers don't have nothing. He don't have this. He don't have that. And I agree. I agree sometimes. Guess what? Ended up catching up with Aaron Rodgers every now and again, right? Because that's why Aaron Rodgers usually get knocked out the season every now and again. They put so much onus on his shoulders that even the great cheesehead can't do it year in, year out and continue to be healthy. You need talent around players, and at the end of the day, guess what? Aaron Rodgers only got one Super Bowl. Through all these MVP caliber seasons, he only has one Super Bowl. And Matthew Stafford, is it him or is it the organization? Guess what? It's the organization. I say, how many quarterbacks would have survived their first 4 or 5 seasons with Detroit Lions after we injured his shoulder his rookie year, then he injured his shoulder again or something like that the second year? A lot of quarterbacks, the mental damage and the physical damage they go through early in their career, define their careers. They never the same. Look at Joey Harrington. He took a lot of butt kickings early in his career. He never was the same. A lot of young quarterbacks come in the league and they just never, especially going to bad teams. Look at the Cleveland Brown quarterbacks they had. All the rookie quarterbacks. They took a beating and they never recovered from that beating mentally. Not so much physically, it's mentally they take the beating. And Stafford has overcame that mental hurdle and he still produced. People say he had Calvin Johnson. Oh, that's it. That's it. Calvin Johnson. You tell me the last guy to win a Super Bowl, last receiver, team to win a Super Bowl with a top flight receiver, and that's really all they really had. You do it by accumulation. You do it by 2 or 3 good people in the passing game. And the Lions haven't gave Stafford all the tools he needed. I'm sorry. The line. He lost weight. He improved. He got a quarterback guru coach. After he said, that he wasn't looking to get one. He did that. He lost the weight. He continues to improve. What else do people want from the guy? It's the talent around him. His deep ball accuracy has improved. It has never been bad. It's just that he throws rockets. And now he's putting touch on it. He's won in Green Bay. He's put the ball on the money. Sometimes he off, yeah, sometimes, but it's, that's easy. That's easier said to be done when, people, blitzing you or getting to you with 4 and hitting you every time you drop back. Because they know you can't run the ball. The Lions have failed Matthew Stafford by not giving him a run game. And when he did have a run game with Reggie Bush and Joyke Bell, he was pretty formidable. He's pretty formidable, man. Then he throw for like 45 touchdowns and like 10 or 11 interceptions, something like that. And that's when you open it up. When you're able to run the ball and that, you're already a top play action team. What happens when you get a really threat of a run game? You just ask him. Is the organization, is it Stafford? Put Stafford in Kansas City last year. I think they probably win the Super Bowl, at least make a Super Bowl run. Several teams, I feel, Denver. He's a good quarterback. And the shit that he survived in Detroit, most quarterbacks wouldn't even have made it to their second contract. They'd have been KO'd out of here. We've seen it again and again with a lot of Detroit quarterbacks. He's, cleared the mental and the physical hurdle. And he wants to be here. You don't really get that a lot from Detroit football players, even though the ones we draft, a lot of them still don't want to be here. Stafford wants to win here. And one Super Bowl here is equivalent of like 6 or 7 in New England, in my opinion. It's like being in Philly. One Super Bowl in Philly is everything because they never had one. You could say, yeah, this and that and this, and he didn't do this, but I mean, he ain't really had the most competent people running the franchise. He still is under the Ford umbrella where we give you just enough to bring the ticket holders in, the people that buy tickets, people that buy beer. We bring we bring enough people in just to renovate the stadium to get people down here. But the Fords have never made that push, that real serious push. They haven't made that with the Lions. They haven't sold all out to really build this team the right way. It's always bread with no meat, Kool-Aid with no sugar, water with no cup. You know what I'm saying? Baby, no diaper with the Lions. And it's time to put baby with diaper, Kool-Aid with sugar, bread with meat. You know what I'm saying? It's time to do that. It's time for them to come full circle and spend that money. Put people around Matthew Stafford. I'm not saying go out there and break the bank in free agency. I'm going out there to keep drafting the right way like Bob Quinn is doing. He's doing an excellent job in drafting. Let's not jinx the guy. Knock on my hardwood floors. But he's doing an excellent job drafting and, just protecting Stafford and running the ball. I think running the ball is protecting Stafford. And I think the running game, getting those big guys going downhill, getting holes, physically imposing on defensive line and linebackers and secondaries, first, second, third level, And then I think it's much easier for those guys to backpedal and pass rush once you dominate a defense like that. But they got to get that guy run game. They got to continue to patch up the line and give them a defense that can do something. Because it's too many times the Lions go 3 and out. Then they want to score a whole bunch of points and make it competitive in the fourth quarter. A running game will stop that. A running game continues to move the chains. A running game allows you to play action and get those easy, 5 to 10 yard chunks, to keep the chains moving. A running game makes your job easier in the red zone. And a lot of those things the Lions, Stafford hasn't had the luxury of. Now you say, well, Peyton Manning never had this, and Tom Brady never had that, and Aaron Rodgers never had this. Let me tell you this right now. Everybody ain't those 3 quarterbacks. And everybody hadn't had the luxury of having those systems in place that those 3 quarterbacks had. The West Coast system, it worked for Aaron Rodgers. Peyton Manning's system with Tom Moore, it worked for him. Tom Brady, the New England system, it worked for him. It's a system that worked for them, that continues, that they adjust and make simple adjustments from year in and year out. And people can't click on to that. For the Lions, Stafford has been through several offensive regimes. So let me just look at it that way. I mean, what don't Matthew Stafford have? Let's start there. At least let's go there. What doesn't he have? He got the arm. He got the strongest arm in the league, in my opinion. Very accurate. He's mobile now. I mean, he's tough. I mean, he got good footwork. I mean, only thing you really say he don't have, it has to be coaching. Offensive coordinator that's competent, that knows not to run the end around and run the same plays every down. And maybe that was because of Jim Caldwell. Because remember when Jim Caldwell came in as part of the interview process, he sat down with Matthew Stafford to see how to cut those interceptions down. I think the year before he got there, Stafford almost had 20-something interceptions. He said, we want you to cut these interceptions down by doing this and doing that. And maybe that's why Jim Bob Cooter's play calling was so vanilla, so held back. Maybe, I heard rumors that Jim Caldwell may have reined the play calling back a little bit on Matthew Stafford. And remember when he first did the interview with Stafford, said on the interview, it was about cutting down turnovers and cutting down on interceptions. And maybe he had to continue to manage Matthew Stafford and not let him go back to his old gung-ho, Brett Favre-esque gunslinger mentality. That I can understand. When your job is on the line, you already been fired, there's no time to open up the playbook and start doing these great trick plays that was copycat and used in the Super Bowl. That should have been used 4 or 5 weeks ago to save your job, Mr. Jim Caldwell. But, like I said, let's see what Jim Bob Cooter and Stafford do. I still believe in the guy Stafford. I see people say, I hate him. And possibly so. He probably won't be the guy that bring the Super Bowl to Detroit. I can't convince you and stand on the table and stand on top of Mount Everest and say, this is that guy. I can't tell you that because I don't know the future. and I don't know what the future will hold. But I'm saying there's not too many more quarterbacks that would have survived what Matthew Stafford has survived with being in Detroit. Not too many quarterbacks would have survived with never really having a good running game for a full 16 games. Because remember, Reggie Bush got injured at the end of that year. We remember, Joey Bell started fumbling and Reggie Bush started fumbling. It was a fumble. It was a fumble-roma. Look at the tight ends that the guys had. Fourier, who was solid. They got rid of Pettigrew and Ebron. That's all I got to say right there. Ain't never had a good tight end. But we'll see what happens, man. They just got to continue to put talent around the guy and continue to put the guy in a position. The guy has all the talents to win the Super Bowl. I'm telling you that right now. I mean, look at the Captain Clutch, Captain Comeback. He's led several comeback drives. Tell me you wouldn't feel comfortable with Stafford, anywhere on the field to take your team down and win the game. He's one of the guys that I picked to come back and win the game. It's just about the forwards, Quinn, Patricia, really building a winner here and really having financial flexibility and freedom to bring the guys in they need to bring in Detroit. I think that's what it comes down to. Don't waste this guy's prime. It's time to win. It may not be time to win right now because you don't want to rush into it and you have plans with all that cap room for next year. But it's time to start building the essentials and building the base blocks to build a championship team. And, people say, oh, let's get rid of Stafford. I'm like, who are you going to replace him with, especially this year? This draft is atrocious with quarterbacks. I don't really trust none of them. The one I do like is maybe is Rosen, and maybe I like a little bit of Lamar Jackson. Depends on what system he goes to. But, people say, get rid of the quarterback. I mean, who are you going to replace him with? It's not that easy. Y'all know what it is.